Watch a room full of people. Pay close attention, not to what is being said, but to the frantic, invisible economy operating just beneath the surface. You will see a desperate bartering system. People are trading their words, their anecdotes, their loud sudden laughs, and their rapid-fire opinions for a single fleeting commodity validation. They are proving they belong. They are proving they are smart, capable, or worthy of attention. The loudest man in the room is often the one who is the most terrified of his own irrelevance. He fills the air with noise because to him, silence is a vacuum that might expose his emptiness. We are conditioned to equate noise with presence and volume with power. We over-explain our choices. We justify our boundaries. When someone challenges us, our immediate instinct is to deploy an armada of words to defend our ego. We believe that if we just say the right thing in the right tone, we can control how the world perceives us. But beneath this exhaustion lies a quiet, unsettling paradox. The more you try to convince the world of your strength, the more you reveal your dependence on its opinion. There is a different kind of presence. You have likely encountered it perhaps only once or twice, and it likely made you uncomfortable. It is the man who observes the chaotic theater of the room but refuses to buy a ticket. He does not rush to fill the awkward pauses. He does not laugh at jokes that aren't funny just to keep the peace. He does not defend himself when misunderstood. He is quiet. And to a society addicted to noise, this quietness is deeply unnerving. It is perceived as a threat. But this man is not dangerous because he is violent. He is dangerous because he is completely, utterly immune to the games everyone else is playing. To understand the psychology of this quietness, we must strip away the modern obsession with dominance or alpha posturing. True quiet power has nothing to do with standing over others. It is an internal fortress. The ancient Stoics understood this through the concept of Autarkeia, a Greek term often translated as self-sufficiency. But in a psychological sense, Autarkeia is emotional sovereignty. It is the realization that your internal weather system cannot be dictated by external atmospheric pressure. When you over-explain yourself, you are handing the listener a judge's gavel. You are submitting your actions to their court, silently pleading for an acquittal. Every time you try to manage someone else's perception of you, you leak your own agency. You tether your peace of mind to their volatile, unpredictable reactions. The Stoic shift occurs when you realize that the courtroom is an illusion. You are not on trial, and the crowd has no real authority over your character. The man who embodies this shift becomes dangerous to the status quo because he cannot be leveraged. You cannot manipulate a man who desires nothing from you. You cannot insult a man who does not value your judgment. You cannot bait a man who feels no compulsion to win the argument. His silence is not a tactic. It is the natural byproduct of a mind that has simply stopped seeking permission to exist. Consider why it feels physically uncomfortable to remain silent when someone mischaracterizes you or disagrees with you. Your heart rate spikes. The words build up in your throat. This is a trauma response of the ego. The ego treats a bruised reputation as a mortal wound. We talk because we are trying to bridge the gap between who we are and who we want others to think we are. It is an exhausting performance. We construct masks made of language, hoping they are thick enough to hide our insecurities. The quiet man has simply realized that the performance is a waste of energy. He understands that people do not hear what you say. They hear what they are prepared to understand through the filter of their own biases. To argue with a committed misunderstanding is to pour water into a bottomless well. When you drop the need to be perfectly understood, you reclaim a massive reservoir of psychological energy. You stop spending your life managing the stage lighting of your own persona. Why does this silence feel so threatening to others? Because silence is a mirror. When you do not offer the expected reactions, when you do not get angry at an insult or flatter an ego or jump into a frantic debate, you deny people the psychological transaction they are accustomed to. You become a blank canvas. Human beings are terrified of the void. When faced with a quiet, composed individual, people will inevitably project their own deepest insecurities onto that silence. The insecure person will interpret your quietness as judgment. The arrogant person will interpret it as a challenge. The anxious person will interpret it as rejection. The quiet man observes this projection without absorbing it. He realizes that the anger or discomfort of others is not about him. It is about their sudden confrontation with themselves. He remains still, allowing them to wrestle with their own shadows. He does not rescue them with small talk. He lets the silence do its work. It is crucial to understand the reality of this path. Adopting the quietness of the Stoic is not a strategy to make people admire you. If you are seeking a technique to become a magnetic, universally respected figure, you are still playing the game of validation. You're simply looking for a new mask. True Stoic neutrality carries a heavy social tax. If you stop playing the game, you will be misunderstood. You will be called cold. You will be accused of arrogance, aloofness, or apathy. Friends who bonded with you over mutual complaining or frantic gossiping will fall away feeling you have become distant. You will lose the cheap warmth of crowd approval. You will experience friction. People will assume your refusal to engage is a sign of superiority, completely missing the fact that it is actually a profound surrender. You must be willing to let people hold entirely incorrect negative opinions about you, and you must let those opinions hang in the air, unchallenged. This is the price of admission to the fortress. You trade the comfort of being liked for the unassailable peace of being free. There is a vital distinction between repression and true quietness. The repressed man is biting his tongue. He is boiling with unspoken arguments, white-knuckling his way through an interaction, desperate to speak, but forcing himself not to out of fear or tactical calculation. His silence is loud. It vibrates with suppressed anxiety. The quiet of the dangerous man is a settled state. It is the silence of a deep ocean unbothered by the storms thrashing on the surface. He is not fighting the urge to speak because he has dismantled the desire to prove himself. He speaks when it is necessary, when it is useful, and when it is true. Otherwise, he rests in the silence. He realizes that most things do not require his opinion. He does not need to have a stance on every outrage, a rebuttal for every slight, or an answer for every provocation. He has discovered the ultimate psychological luxury, the freedom to simply let things be. The next time you find yourself in the middle of the noise, the next time you feel that familiar, anxious surge in your chest, urging you to defend, to explain, to insert your voice into the chaos. Pause. Notice the urge. Notice how desperate the ego is to be acknowledged. And then choose the void. Let the accusation hang in the air. Let the misunderstanding stand. Let the awkward pause stretch until it becomes physically uncomfortable for everyone else in the room. Retreat into the citadel of your own mind and close the gates. You will not win the argument. You will not conquer the room. You may even be judged a fool, an outcast, or a stone. But as the noise washes over you, frantic and meaningless, you will realize something profound. You're no longer blowing in the wind of other people's words. You're anchored to the bedrock of yourself. And you must ask yourself, would you rather have the fragile applause of the crowd or the terrifying, indestructible quiet of your own soul?